Okay. All right. We've started recording. Everybody there?
Yes.
Welcome to another fabulous Zoom session. How are you?
We're good.
Great.
Is everybody over Zoom already?
I'm not.
Okay, good.
It's nice to see people's faces.
It's good
definitely.
professionally and personally. I think we've all done a lot of Zoom happy hours as well, too. So I don't know if that's what they intended when they came up with Zoom, but we've certainly been creative in using the tool.
Oh, yeah. We've done lots of stuff. We play Yahtzee.
Do you really?
You can play Yahtzee with people. You don't have to be sitting together.
Did you play Yahtzee before you were using Zoom?
Yes. I always have, this is something you guys don't know about me. I always have 5 dice in my purse.
In case you run into a craps table?
In case I want to play Yahtzee. I know the board, it's memorized. We've played Yahtzee for years.
We're going to call her. Next time we see her, she's going to have to show us the dice in her purse.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not forgetting this one. Well, I'm glad the three of us could get together to do this again. We had a good time the last time we tried it. And today, in a few minutes, we're going to have Adrienne Bugg from Pillar and Peacock join us to talk about design and decorating trends that maybe will be useful to anybody who watches this, if anyone does watch this. So we'll have them on in a few minutes. Before we get to that, though, the usual real estate talk. What have you been up to? Anything new, exciting, new listings?
I have got one great listing that is out on Panorama and River. A beautiful, beautiful home that is 4 bedroom. It's 4,000 square feet, and it was custom built in the late 90s, and it's all brick, colonial, and it's very pretty.
I walked through that one with you, and the thing that stood out to me was the millwork in the floor.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable cased entries, and just some
there's these thick cased entries from in the entryway and in the family room to the kitchen, and just beautiful dental molding, and yeah, the millwork throughout is gorgeous.
And a great location. I love driving down River Road and seeing the sign. It's a location.
Good signage.
It is great sign placement. What about you, Shane? What have you been up to?
I've got a new listing coming on the market next week on Monument Avenue in the Museum District. So 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, garage with off-street parking. So that'll be a great one hitting the market next Thursday. And I'm going to try my hand at a live virtual open house too.
Ooh,
we'll see
I'll come.
It might just be the 3 of us.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe I'm signed up to be the virtual cameraman, right?
You are my cameraman, yes.
Awesome. Well, if today's mastery of technology is in any indication, this should be a virtual open house to tune in for. I've been working on 2 listings in the West End off the Pemberton Road corridor, one in Candlewood, one in Quail Run. One of them I'm co-listing with Shana Branch. And both of them are vacant homes that need some updating, and the owners have bought into the idea of renovating these houses to get them on the market and attract the highest, the highest possible number of buyers and ultimately price. And it's been interesting to try and tackle renovating listings and getting that work done. Fortunately, they're vacant, so it's not an issue with people being there working, but working with the contractors right now, it's a new kind of challenge. So got those listings coming on. Ken Hurst has a great one that just dropped today in Ginner Park on Wilmington. It's beautiful.
I saw that. That looks awesome.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
And then Heather Grubb has that house that she renovated up in Churchill. So we've got things all over the city right now, and then plenty coming on in the West End. So, there's definitely signs of life in the real estate market. We're staying busy from a distance, but it's really been encouraging. Any other interesting real estate adventures we want to discuss?
That are recorded on camera, I'm not sure we want to talk about that.
It's definitely been a chaotic week in our office. We've had a lot of contracts that have required some additional negotiating, more so than usual.
On things like on what, like inspections and?
Yeah, I mean, I personally am working on some inspections for a seller right now and an appraisal issue, and so just seems like there's a few more hoops to jump through this year, which I don't know why. Maybe a pandemic.
Go figure.
I'm gonna text Pillar and Peacock and tell them that we're ready for them to join us. Any other thoughts on what we need to tell our buyers and sellers right now?
People are still buying and selling homes. We're doing it in
Yeah.
a different way than we did a couple of months ago. And certainly if you have a home to sell, we don't have enough inventory. So there are, we don't want to pull anybody out from their home that doesn't want to, but if you are considering selling and you can get comfortable in the ways that we're working, there are buyers out there for your home.
Definitely.
There are ways that we can do it to where everybody can stay safe and comfortable.
Yeah, well, good. Shane posted a picture on, I think it was Instagram the other day of, what were you doing, a virtual showing?
Yes. So I have some clients that live in Northern Virginia. And so rather than, and this isn't necessarily to do with COVID-19, but
There's Adrienne.
She on? All right. I'm previewing homes for them, but I wear a mask and gloves. And somebody said I either look like I'm going to murder them or go rob a bank. So that's my look.
I always think I look like a bank robber.
Well, I got these black gloves at the auto parts store. So I look particularly weird in my black gloves.
Even more, that's more train robberish to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna let Adrienne in.
All right, great.
Okay.
I always like that feature where you have to allow somebody to join. Hey, Adrienne.
Hi, Adrienne.
How are you all?
Good. How are you?
Great. Hanging in there.
Good.
You look like you're in the office. Tilt to the left or the right. Do I see the? Oh, yeah.
There it is.
In the office.
PNP.
It's a tiny miracle that I'm sitting here in the office and not at my dining room table right now.
Is
That's where
that?
I'm at.
Yeah. I'm in my children's playroom because it's the best light.
Right. Exactly. That's definitely what we've all been dealing with. I certainly have as well, but I have a little bit of help today. So that allows me to do things like put on real clothes. I actually have on pants with a waistband today instead of
Nice.
so but yeah, it's I know we've all been in that boat, and it's so interesting to see how real estate is doing and everything too in this environment.
Yeah, we were talking about it a minute ago. We're continuing to bring great listings to the market, and our agents are finding creative ways to help buyers, whether it's virtual showing. Shane was just telling us about dressing up in a bank robber-esque costume the other day to show them.
Right.
So that's
Right.
that's become the norm for us, but yeah, we're getting it done. So how
That's
about
great.
you all? Tell us a little bit about Pillar and Peacock, or actually Mollie, tell us how you know Pillar and Peacock.
Well, I know Pillar and Peacock because Adrienne's partner, Brandeis Short, and I are old college buddies and go way back, and she's a very dear friend of mine. So I have watched her design career grow from going back to school here at VCU to all through her working at 3 North and then doing her own thing and then partnering up with Adrienne, and they have just created magic. And they have offices. You have 3 offices, the Irvington where you are, here in Richmond, they have a beautiful office at Grove and Libby. And then down in Florence, Alabama, where Brandeis is, and they serve clients throughout the Southeast. They've also done stuff in New York City and the British Virgin Islands, right? That beautiful, beautiful home down there.
That's on my list, but it was the Bahamas.
The Bahamas, sorry.
It doesn't really matter.
I know.
So we're not far away and beautiful.
Caribbean.
Whatever.
Yeah, but they have a great process that they go through that I'll hand it over to Adrienne. I'm client. I can leave my head. That beautiful light fixture, how do we do that? Was brought to me by Pillar and Peacock, as well as my wallpaper and all my stuff in my house. They did a wonderful job. I love it. And with that,
I don't know, Mollie, you're hired. Like you did a great. I don't know what else to say.
side hustle.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but like Molly said, Brandeis and I knew each other. It's kind of funny how like life works. I used to be in the financial, the investments world. And so when I was in Richmond, I was at a couple different firms, but met Sean Short at Wachovia Securities, and Sean is Brandy's husband. And so Sean and I were friends, and then I met Brandeis afterwards. And then when we both moved from Richmond, I live in Irvington, Virginia, just an hour away. So I'm back and forth all the time. And she ended up moving to Tennessee and now in Alabama. She was trying to go out on her own, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do because I wasn't happy in that industry. And then she helped me with my house, and next thing I know, we have an LLC. So it's been great. We're in our 9th year together. I can't believe that. We've been through
killing it.
all ups and downs and sideways, and so but we've always worked remotely, which is the interesting part of this, because when we started this, she was living in Tennessee and I was out here. So we have before Zoom, we would FaceTime and pull samples, and I would take pictures and text them to her and say, well, it's just a little bit darker because my phone and the light in here isn't great, and we would collaborate that way. So when all of this hit, it really wasn't that unfamiliar for us to start, getting on Zooms and working with clients remotely.
Oh
no, she stopped.
Townhome in Chicago, sight unseen. Oh no, did I break up?
You're
Just
back
for a
again.
second.
I'm back.
We're good.
Okay, where did I stop? Sorry.
I heard you come back to the townhome in Chicago.
Oh yeah, I've never set foot in it. So we did that completely remote, back in, gosh, that was when I was working out of my house. So it must have been a good 7 years ago, maybe 6. So yeah, we are a full service design firm. We do comprehensive spaces, whether it is a small room or an entire house, which just means that we, from the A to Z, we are consulting with clients and getting to know who they are, and then pulling, doing the plan and pulling what their furnishings are or finishes, or we're doing construction, and then we are installing at the end. So we're seeing those spaces through from the very beginning all the way to the end. We also have an architect on staff, so we are not just interiors, we're architecture. So that's what we're doing.
Full service.
Yep.
Well, when you're full service like that, I imagine you end up on some pretty large scale projects. How long have you been in the Richmond market? And give us a sample of some projects you've taken on here that have really kind of blown your mind.
Oh, sure. Well, and we take on projects of all sizes and scale. So we have, small projects, and we also have some very large projects. We've been in the Richmond market unofficially the entire time. But we did open our official office, our studio at Libby and Grove. It's actually at the corner of Granite and Grove in May of last year. Our real deal opening was in September. But we've always had a little satellite office there, or a presence, because as you all probably know, Richmond and the Northern Neck are very closely tied. So when I moved from Richmond, I still had a lot of contacts there, obviously, and still a ton of friends, to this day. And obviously I've gotten to know Mollie, which is great. And she ended up being a client of ours. Yeah. But out here in the Northern Neck, it's, it's the retreat. It's the second home market. I just happen to live out here full time and then go back to Richmond once or twice a week to service clients there. Because what happened was, when we started Pillar and Peacock in Irvington, people with their second homes had us do those, and then they said, well, can you start doing our main house in Richmond? And so it was kind of a backwards way.
It's kind of reverse of what you think, but
reverse of what you would think, but it's been great. And so we have been involved with, some larger waterfront homes here. We've collaborated with outside architects and contractors on some of those jobs. And then we have several jobs right now where we are building from the ground up, and we are doing the architecture and the design, and the furnishings all the way through. That said, we're also, we also have a job where we're just doing a master bedroom. So, and everything in between. But I feel very lucky to have been a part of all that.
Well, I know you guys, I see your sign out down on probably the 2600 block of Hanover. It looks like you guys are doing. I know what the house looked like beforehand.
Yeah.
So whenever it's done and they're on the gram, I would love to see the work that's being done there, because that's right around the corner from my house.
I'm really excited about that project. I'm so glad you saw our sign. It's really exciting. waiting for us. So when we have a sign up, it's like, ooh, it's official.
I definitely saw
But yeah, that is a renovation. So the people that own that home came to us. It was great. She was getting her hair done at Mango, and our new office is on the opposite corner right there. And so she needed a designer and looked out the window while she was getting her hair done and saw our sign and called us. So
That's awesome.
That was great. Yeah. And she's lovely. They are lovely people, and they're also really fun, and they like a lot of color. And they have agreed to do some really fun things in the design. So it's a kitchen renovation, and then we are doing the finishes and the furnishings for the entire main floor to start. And so, yeah, when that's finished, which hopefully will be later this summer and that everything is installed, we'll have it photographed and certainly share that. And
Awesome.
yeah, but we were really excited to have a house in that museum district area. I love those houses.
So obviously your business is, built around tailoring recommendations and designs to the client's personal, wants and wishes and interests. But are there any design trends that you see regularly throughout Richmond that, stand out to you as something that's just air quotes on trend?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's not necessarily a particular color, for example, that I'm seeing. It's really more of just a clean classic style. I think people are kind of going back to that mix of, at least with our clients, they may have inherited some furniture, or now their parents are old enough where they're, moving, they're downsizing. And so they're either, wanting to freshen up or mix in those family heirlooms with newer modern pieces. So we see this kind of mix of styles, but also keeping it very clean and not, cluttered with a bunch of accessories and things like that. Right now, since COVID, we didn't really know it was going to happen. It's my first pandemic. So, right, exactly. I keep saying that to people. Well, I don't know. It's my first pandemic. But we really weren't sure if projects were going to be put on hold or exactly what was going to happen with our business. But, definitely the recent trend has been with people working from home comes from as no surprise. You're sitting there staring at your space that isn't completely finished, or you don't have a great home office space. And so we've actually gotten quite a few calls. We've written several proposals in the Richmond area to redo spaces such as that. And it's not just the decorating side, it's also the renovation side. People are ready to start planning. They're looking forward to when all of this is, hopefully over soon. And so, getting those construction plans, it takes some time. It usually takes longer than people think. And so now is a great time to dig in and, brainstorm with us and get all of that on paper and get your bids from your contractor. So that way, when everybody's ready to go again, you can hit the ground running.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It is.
What is there one room in the house where people seem more excited about reinvesting and redesigning than another? In our business, we're always talking about kitchens and bathrooms. Does that hold true in your business?
Yeah, it's kitchens and bathrooms. I mean, you live in your kitchen, I think, especially, and especially now, because you're not, we're cooking a lot more. Even if you're getting takeout, you're just in your kitchen a lot more.
We're all spending too much time in our kitchen these days.
Yeah.
Right. So you want it to be a space that makes you happy, that you enjoy looking at, that your environment is, something that really feels good to you. And I'm also seeing a lot of kitchens that, we're knocking down walls and making them a little bit bigger. So they're more, eat-in, like breakfast area, kind of family room / kitchens. Especially some of those older homes, like in the Fan. I mean, that one on Hanover, yeah, the whole back space was broken up, and there was a weird entry mudroom with a insufficient butler's pantry, and the kitchen was just a galley, and we've blown all of that out and opened it up completely. So it's not necessarily open architecture to the rest of the house, but that space has become a lot more open. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of interest in kitchen and also master bathroom renovations. I think people just want to retreat.
Yes. Those are the two things that are like on my next thing is my master bath and my kitchen.
Good. Let's do it. I think about your kitchen.
I know. Well, yeah. I mean, y'all are definitely helping me with those things.
I mean, I do every now and then.
Let me ask you a question. If I wanted to refresh something now when we're not ready to bring in and do something big, if someone wanted to make their space feel a little bit newer because we've been in it so long and switch it up. Do you have any suggestions for people that we could do?
Absolutely. And it depends on what room you're in, but in your kitchen, I mean, consider just painting the cabinets or painting the walls. You know, you don't necessarily have to go and rip up all your countertops and everything, but I mean, painting those cabinets and changing the hardware on them can make a huge difference. We call that a refresh. You know, flipping out your runners, going with a different color scheme. We've been getting rid of a lot of red and yellow these days. I think that was really popular back in the early 2000s and the 90s. And so we've been de-90ing lots of things, freshening it up. And then for, you know, other spaces in the house, you know, things like in your bedroom, I do think that your bedroom should be an oasis. And especially during this time, I know me with 2 kids, I've been taking baths more than I ever have, just to go have a moment to myself. So, you know, kind of the same thing in your bathroom. You could just refresh your cabinetry, put some new hardware in, maybe flip out some light fixtures to make it more fresh. And then in your bedroom, you know, just go buy a new duvet. Just get yourself, you know, or some new pillows on your bed. It doesn't have to be major. It doesn't have to be expensive either. I mean, we do a lot of custom work, but let me be honest, you can also go to Target and get some really awesome pillows and refresh your room if you just don't have the budget for design, you know? So there are some fun things like that that I think you can do and tweak. You know, go put some new pillows on your living room sofa. Just make you happy.
I have to say,
Maybe
Adrienne, I've seen you do your thing.
bright colors
like Target
right now.
Like when you go to like you, Adrienne, going into a Target or one of those things, I can't do that as well as you can. You're amazing at being able to decorate and bring in color on a budget. It's a skill. It really is. I mean, anybody can do it, but like you really are very good at it.
Everybody has a budget. I don't care how much money you have. Everybody has a budget, and we're big sticklers. And that is probably from my financial days. I have a business background, and so everybody has a spreadsheet. And I really enjoy looking at our estimated versus actuals, and I'm a big nerd like that. But, you know, it's good because I think designers have a reputation of kind of going crazy. So we try to not do that and keep it within, you know, where you need it to be.
That's great.
So.
Well, I think we're starting to wind down on our time. I appreciate you being here with us. Before we wrap it up, we want to know, what's the one thing that's keeping you sane during all of this coronavirus pandemic?
Is it just one thing?
If you've got more than one, share. We're all looking for ideas.
You need help.
Yeah, my baths.
Okay.
The few days that have been warmer, we get outside a lot. And I just have to be honest, my glass of wine.
I feel like that's the best place for us to stop. So, Adrienne, thank you for being here. Jane, Mollie.
This was fun. It's good to see you all.
I know.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Adrienne. It was great to see you.
Take
All
care.
right. Bye.
Bye.
See you, everybody.